What's up, everybody? This is Matt Parsons. Just wanted to talk to you today a little bit about my sort of belief system, and this is just completely my opinion. I believe that things are meant to happen. You know, like I was born with palsy, brachial plexus injury, and some may see that as a disability, and some people may look and say, oh, Matt, that really sucks. I don't see that. So there's some days that sort of you feel a little bit down and you don't feel motivated as such. But you know what? Like, on the grand scheme of things, when I look at my life and I look at all the things that I have, I feel so blessed. I have an amazing wife. I have a lovely house. I've got my camper van. I've got wonderful friends and family. I've got a great job which I love, and I love doing these sort of videos, and I don't have anything to complain about. I'm really lucky, but it's not always been that way. It's all there's been times in my life that have been really, really tough, and growing up with Erb's palsy, getting picked on, and there's various other things that happened in my life which I won't talk about now, but at the time it was very, very dark and very, very heavy, and you wonder why, why all this stuff happened. You're kind of in the middle of it and it seems so dark, and you kind of feel like there's no way out. But I believe and I know in my heart that things are meant to happen. Things happen for a reason. People come into your life for a reason, and people are there for a certain amount of time, and they've kind of like served their purpose, and then they kind of naturally sort of drift away. But sometimes we try and hold on to things, and we try to make things be a certain way that is just really not supposed to be. But Erb's palsy for me has completely made me who I am today. It's given me all of the friends that I've got in my life. It's given me my wife. It's given me my job. And I honestly believe without Erb's palsy, I wouldn't have that, and I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I believe in synchronicity. So I'll sort of explain why I believe this. So I was a massive baby. So this obviously happened to me at birth. And people say like, it wasn't God-given, and for me, I believe it was God-given, even though it was an accident as such. They pulled me because maybe if I hadn't, I would have died. So the midwives have to do a certain thing to keep you alive. Sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes it's complete lack of knowledge and things like that. But I believe things in my life right now are meant to be here. This led me onto my education. I've kind of said this before in blogs that my parents prosecuted, and we did win the case, and that funded my education. That also then enabled me to have some of the friends that I've got now, which back from 20, 30 years ago, and they're still friends with me. And I have a job teaching in the school that I went to, and because I had that job, I also met my wife now as well. And it all sounds very simple, but it definitely wasn't a simple journey. It was a very, very difficult journey. And I think what helped me was knowing that and believing that things happen for a reason, and taking opportunities when it kind of like really logically it made no sense to do that, but I had to. I felt in my heart that I completely had to make those decisions, and I made this massive career change to become a teacher in my late 20s, when I hadn't been trained as a teacher, and I was in a relationship at the time, and I also had a house with that person, and we were engaged, and it made no financial sense to do that, but I felt as though I had to do it, and despite what people might say that it was a wrong thing to do, but for me, being selfish, I made the decision and I did it. And you know what? I'm so happy, and I'm in such a beautiful relationship now with my wife. And what may have seemed selfish at the time, you have to make decisions sometimes based on how you feel. And although that can be really difficult for people around you, at the end of the day, like, this is your life. This is you. This is your experience in the blink of an eye that we live on this planet. It's such a short time in the grand scheme of things. why waste that doing things that you don't want to do? Why waste that being around people that are drainers, you know? And what's amazing, like I had a conversation with one of my pupils about a year or so ago, and she was so wise, and I love this. She said, you've got drainers and you've got radiators, and you've got these people that your friends that are radiators that bring out the best in you and make you feel good, and they make you, and they lighten up the place, and that's such a powerful thing to have radiators around you. But then you've got the drainers, and then the people that suck your energy, and people that sort of aren't good for you, and you kind of feel that you feel as though they kind of have to have them in the life, you know, and sort of making that decision and sort of saying, you know what, I need to be with these people that bring the best out in me, because that's who I should be. I should be the best version of myself that I can be. And if you're around people that just suck the life out of you and suck the energy out of you, and don't support the decisions that you're making, then why should you be around those people? And it's important to have people around you to guide you, but ultimately you know what's best for you, and that has to come from here, and it's difficult sometimes to differentiate between what's being said in here and what's being said in here, and then you get everyone saying stuff here, and it's just, you get confused. So synchronicity is so important, but that only really happens when you really start to sort of let go and stop trying to fight things, and that's such an important thing to do, because synchronicity helped me get where I am. And the more you realise it, and sort of I learned about this through a book, Celestine Prophecy, and I've read it like 10 times, and I always pick up new things each time, which is kind of strange how I got that book, because my ex-fiance gave me that book and it changed my life. And so maybe the reason that I had that relationship was because she led me to that book. And then it served its purpose, and then it sort of moved on, and we ended up going in our separate directions, and I ended up getting a career, and you know, in something that I love, and I feel that, you know, something that I'm good at. It's led me to a wonderful bunch of new friends that have just completely changed my life for the positive. But spirituality is such an amazing thing, and yeah, I do believe that this Erb's palsy was God-given. I really do. And although it was someone else's mistake, it's something that it sounds weird, but maybe I chose this to happen. You know, chose this, and maybe you know, before I came on this planet, you know, it was decided that was what was going to happen. And you know, that's a really difficult thing to say, especially, you know, on a grand scheme of things, it's not a major problem. You know, there are a lot of people out there that have got worse issues, and there's some really atrocious stuff that happens to people. But trying to see it from a different point of view, you know, we see everything and we try and work everything out in here, but actually, if we can try and let go of those things and try and see things from a different point of view, then maybe we can start to learn lessons from all of these things that happen to us in our life. You know, I could have, when I was in those darker stages, you know, like 7-8 years ago, it would have been so easy to stay there, and it would have been so easy to get sucked into it and not being able to get out, because you know, a lot of things went around my head, and it's not a pleasant place to be. But I got myself out of it, you know, and we can do that, and I did that by letting go of and trying not to control everything, and not putting the blame on other people, because it's so easy to blame other people. But you're in control of your life, and you know, I do understand bad things do happen, but why have they happened, and how can we see this, and how can we make this into a positive? And I know there's probably going to be a lot of people that disagree with that, and you know, I understand that, and that's fine. We're all entitled to our opinions, but this is just kind of how I feel and how I see the world. And you know, I love the fact that I know that there's something bigger out there, and not everyone believes that as well, and that's just my opinion, and I'm never ever going to force my opinions on anybody else. You know, this is just a platform for me to express how I feel. You either agree with me or you don't. You know, I was brought up in a very spiritual way. Like when I was growing up, my mum, I'm a Reiki master, and that's something that I've been for many years. I don't necessarily always practice it so much these days, and it's something that I'd like to do a little bit more, and I believe that had a really positive effect on on my Palsy arm growing up, and you know, I do sweat lodges, and you know, I'm training in mindfulness, and I meditate, and all of that stuff is so important, because there's more than this. You know, we're all connected. We're all part of the same stuff, and that's a really powerful thing for me when I realised that. And it was like, wow, you know, I'm so much more than this. And once you realise that, it can open up so many doors and so many paths that you just didn't even know were there. So yeah, it's just something to think about, and it's kind of question everything in your life. Like, why, you know, don't just accept it, but try not to be closed-minded about things as well. You know, the universe is infinite. It's an infinite wisdom out there, and to think that we are just one tiny speck of dust in an infinite universe, and we are just one person amongst billions of people, and who knows what else is out there. You know, like, we have infinite power, but we just don't know how to access that. And there's more to life than just us. We're not that, you know, we can't be that self-centered to believe that we are the center of the universe. And you know, like, it's mind-boggling. And there's some amazing programs out there to tune into. Again, like, check out Fabric of the Cosmos. Mind-blowing, like, unbelievable. Like, just watch it, and it'll just blow you away. It's absolutely incredible. Read books, you know, like, if you're interested in something. You know, sometimes what happens as well with synchronicity is that you read something, or maybe, you know, you kind of get drawn to something, or you see the same thing over and over again, and it's a sign. You know, follow it. You know, follow that sign. Read that book that keeps appearing to you, and what happens is sometimes people come into your life. You've sort of attracted them into your life, so it's like law of attraction. You know, you like, be that person, that positive person, and you will attract more positive people. You know, if you're negative, you're not going to attract anybody. You know, if you're just like feeling sorry for yourself all the time, and you're kind of in a really bad place, and you know, you obviously need people to help you sometimes, but like, be a beacon of light, and then people will come to you, and that's a powerful thing too. Be a positive influence around other people. And again, law of attraction, you attract good people, and you attract those radiators. So yeah, just something to think about. You know, oh, one little thing as well. Like, I have these angel cards, fairy cards, and loads of different ones. And a lot of people might think that this is crazy, but like, when I was in a relationship prior to the one I'm in now, I was doing these everything. I was so confused. I was so confused, and I kept on getting time to go. Every single time I did those cards, it would come up, and as soon as we broke up, I never ever saw it again. It never appeared to me, and like, I didn't want to admit that it was time to go. I didn't want to admit to myself that this relationship was over and it served its purpose. But now there are all sorts of really cool things that are happening, and that are coming from those cards that completely resonate with me. So yeah, a lot of people don't believe in these things, but for me, like, it's just like, I'm so in tune with it. It shows me everything that I need it to, and it's always the right message, and that's such a cool thing. And my wife, she didn't really believe in these sort of things necessarily. She was sort of open-minded, but she never done them, and then everything is so relevant to her whenever she does it. So yeah, it's really cool. So little things for me just show that, you know, I'm on the right path, and it's been difficult to get there. It's not been an easy journey, but where I am now, I'm so incredibly happy, and that's such a cool place to be. But sometimes we have to go through all of that to get to that light, and yeah, you know, things happen for a reason. But I've worked through it, and I've ended up being the person that I wanted to be. And there's still many goals that I want to achieve, and there's many things, like I said in my last video, I juggle a lot of balls. You know, I'm doing life coaching, I do mindfulness, I'm training in mindfulness, and you know, I'm a teacher, I'm in a band, and I like renovating my camper van, and I've got all these other things that I'm doing, and sometimes I just feel like I can't be all of those things, so I do the things that I feel as though I should be doing. You know, like, I'm not going to necessarily be a bodybuilder, so I'll go to the gym when I can. I'm not going to put the pressure on myself. But if you want to be those things, you can be those things. You know, this is just my journey. Like, I just believe that we shouldn't fight to be something that we really feel deep down. If we really, really listen, we're not meant to be. Like, you know, like, I love being in a band, and I have great fun with the lads, and we go out and we gig and we have a few drinks, and it's brilliant. We've recorded albums, and I've been doing this for like 20 years, and I love it. And you know, I dreamed of being in a rock band and being able to perform in front of thousands of people and making that my life. But the older I've got, it didn't happen for a reason, and we don't see that at the time. You know, we're so focused on being that thing. And you know, really deep down, if I listened to it, I knew that I wasn't going to be a famous rock star. You know, like, and it's not because maybe I didn't have the talent or whatever. It was just because that wasn't what I was meant to be doing. So I feel as though now I'm doing the thing that I'm meant to be doing, and there's a difference between trying to force something and and finding that thing and allowing it to blossom. And that's the thing, you know. So now I'm on a journey, and I'm trying to do the things that I feel guided to do, and maybe one of these things will blossom, maybe they won't, I don't know, but we'll just have to wait and see. But that's the journey, and that's the journey that you should be enjoying, and that's a really cool part of it. You know, we always want to be at the end, but actually, you know, it's that journey, it's that path to that point that you want to be, that is the exciting thing. And you know, I don't know where I'm going to end up, and that's an amazing thing, and I'm enjoying each step of the way. I'm enjoying meeting new people, online, offline, and you know, I can't wait to go to UBPN camp next year, and meet everybody again, and see some new people, and I can't wait to interact with more people on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and yes, it's really, really cool. So there's so many amazing people out there, and I want to connect with you. So if you've got Herb's palsy, or maybe you don't have Herb's palsy, maybe you've got another disability, but you sort of understand where I'm coming from, and this sort of resonates with you a little bit, then get in touch. You know, I don't want it to be necessarily just Herb's palsy related. You know, we're loads of people out there going through similar things, and it might not be a disability. You know, it might be mental health issues and stuff like that. But you know, talk about it, get in contact. You know, and I really want to hear from you guys. And I said, hopefully some of this does resonate with you. You're not going to agree with all of it, I understand that. It's my opinion, so don't hate me if I have my opinion, but I do really want to hear from you guys. So comment below, and hopefully I'll speak to some of you soon.